So Troy, tell us about your day job on Facebook today. I heard you had some special visitors over at the shop.
Well, part of being the announcer is you work from March to October-ish, and you don't have jobs because we're not racing November, December, January, February, March. So befriended Kevin Shera. He was nice enough to bring me on board his design shop, and he's given me a job the last 3 or 4 months or years, over the off season. It's awesome. I got a good group there, guys. We have a good time. And today we got a TV celebrity sighting. Guys on Street Outlaws came in and they bought a lot of sweatshirts from us. So got to meet them. I talked to them a little about TV stuff and how they got into TV. That was cool. But yeah, racing in the winter doesn't necessarily pay the bills if you're the announcer. So you've got to find other outlets. I was actually construction my whole life. I mean, even though I went to Chico State, got my degree, I went back to work for my family. We did chalkboards and whiteboards and tack boards in schools all over California. So I remember getting my diploma from Chico State, and then the next week I was back to work with my dad, hammer and nail. So back then it was cool because I did that, and I announced, Friday nights at Chico, so I had a good paycheck. And then when we decided to close the family business, I was relying on racing, and it was hard to pay the bills. So Kevin Shera Designs was nice enough to hire me, and I'm there usually in the off season when we're not racing. Try to help him up as much as I can. He's been pretty generous to allow me to float back to racing, let me do my racing, and then come back, in the off season to work for him. So get used to that. You got to get a job, right? If you're going to be the track announcer, or local track announcer, you probably got to get another job because financially, it's okay money, but it's not, week money. You get paid for the day, right? So your dad gets paid for 5 days because he works, a job 5 days a week. So your dad makes more money than me. So I want to be like your dad sometimes.
Do you think the future of sprint car racing will improve?
Wow, that's a loaded question. Improve as in what? What is improving to you mean?
Just better facilities, better places, better racing, better social media stuff.
I'd like to say yes again, but I got to be honest. I don't think the facilities will get much better. Most of the dirt tracks we race on are at state facilities, so it's up to the fair boards to improve the tracks. Stockton's kind of a cool place because the guy that promotes that is able to do some events that necessarily other promoters aren't able to do at the fairgrounds. But the future of our sport's really going to depend on guys like you and younger guys in the media trying to spread the love about sprint car racing. Get people excited to go to the races. It's both ways. We have to have people that race, like your dad, and you have to have people like myself that want to, write about them and talk about them. But you also have to have the fan that pays money to get into the races to watch all this stuff. So I don't know how that's going to ever improve, to be honest with you, unfortunately. I think if we keep going what we got, it's a good thing. We're okay. But I think I talked about earlier, the demographics we're getting older. A lot of our fans, we're not getting a lot of the younger people. So I think that's something that we have to focus on, how to get younger people to the racetrack. And racing's fine. Gosh, we got go-kart kids. Yeah. So many go-kart kids that are going to continue to climb the ladder. I think the racing end's fine. I think basically what we all have to focus on is trying to get people to come watch these guys race. So I hope it gets better. Is it? I don't know. I feel like it at one time kind of peaked, and I don't think we'll ever get back to the height of the sport. To me, it was like the 80s and 90s. And then ever since then, we have some great talent, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if it'll ever get back to the heights that it was. I remember grandstand pictures of, on a Friday night, it was packed. I mean, that's all people did was go to the races, and now, as you know, we get 800 to 900 people, but it's definitely not like it used to be. So we have to work on that. So I don't know if that's going to happen with me. That's going to happen with you guys. You young guys are going to come up. You're going to have to stir the interest and figure out cool promotions and maybe get the city more involved with the racetrack. We're going to have to do something.
Yeah, you need a DeLorean time machine from Back to the Future. You really need to figure that out. Hopefully we don't have flying sprint cars like they did in Back to the Future.
No, I hope not, but you never know. That could be the future. You're right. Sprint car wise, I think sprint cars are great. I think they're at the peak. They've got all these advantages. What I love now is the safety of them, the seats, and restraints and the Hans device. I think that's all good. I don't know if you'll see many improvements in the sprint car ranks that way. But I still think my focus would be try to get people to go to the races. That'd be where we really have to work.
Well, I love watching MAV TV, and
Mhm.
you were on an episode of The King of the West at Placerville.
Yeah, it was cool.
How cool is that for you?
So MAP TV was great. I got that through Sean Buckley, another announcer friend of ours. So that was cool. You know, I wish we had more. I wish I had more opportunity to do stuff like that. Honestly, Drake, I wasn't the guy that would go kiss everyone's butt. You know, so I wouldn't go and be Mr. Flashy. I just kind of let my work show for itself, and kind of hindered me because I wasn't the guy that would go through a room and try to pick out people and go to TV producers. If it happened, cool. If not, I was okay with that. So you just have to make yourself happy. What do you want to do in life? You know, do you want to be the weekend guy? That's what I was happy doing. Do you want to go to TV? Well, then you got to go. You know, got to pound on people's doors. You got to put your resume in front of people's faces and go, hey, I'm this guy. And so when Sean Buckley called about doing the MAV TV thing, I was really excited. I was happy. I felt like I had reached another pinnacle in my career. I think I took a picture of me interviewing Jonathan Allard or something, and I gave it to my parents, and I said, we finally made it. You know, it was one of those things where they had a big camera, and I was interviewing it. Might have been Andy Gray, I forget, but, you know, there's some cool moments that I had, and, you know, reflecting is great, kid. I mean, to look back on all the great moments I've had and the people I've met, and a lot of people have come into my life, and I've been very blessed from what I've been doing. Probably wouldn't change a thing. You know, it was cool to be on MAP TV and stuff like that, but that's not my passion. My passion is, I love people, I love talking to people, I love having a family sense. I'm from a small town. You know, Grass Valley was a small little town, Auburn where I'm from, and I just like that small town atmosphere. And so, you know, maybe you'll be that next person that will knock on a lot of doors and, you know, tell people, hey, I'm Drake York and I'm going to be on TV. You know, I just didn't want to, at the time I was happy doing what I was doing.
Well, that's going to wrap up our show today. Today's show has been presented by Smith Racing, Roberto Marquez, attorney at law, Pedersen Motorsports, and Pappenhausen Automotive.
How'd you know these sponsors already? That's pretty cool.
They're right there.
My goodness, good for you. Did you call them and reach out to them? And
That was actually my dad at work.
Nice. You got good people.
I did talk to Pedersen Motorsports and Pappenhausen.
Absolutely. No, you're doing a great job. I mean, honestly, keep doing what you're doing. And, you know, as Casey Kasem said, keep your feet on the ground, reach for the stars. You're going to be awesome. Proud of you.
Well, stay tuned for our next episode with Brad Bumgardner.